Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kirsten Sikkelee, and it's my privilege to serve as CEO of our YWCA. We're so happy to have all of you here today. I believe we may have some elected officials with us in this giant ballroom. If you would please stand so that we can thank you for your service. We appreciate you taking the time to serve our community and also making time to join us today. I also want to thank our amazing table hosts, all 84 of you. Today, thanks to you, we have 840 friends of the YWCA in this ballroom, so a major thank you to all of our table hosts. Generous sponsors make this luncheon possible. They underwrite it for us. I'd like to echo Angela's thanks to our signature steadfast sponsor, Wells Fargo. We're so very grateful for their leadership giving. If any of you were coming into work very early today and the Wells Fargo Duke Energy Center was glowing orange, that is because of the YWCA mission, and it will be doing the same thing tonight. We have several more sponsors to thank, so if you would, kindly hold your applause until the end. Our presenting sponsor is Duke Energy, Piedmont Natural Gas. Our sustaining sponsor is Fifth Third Bank. Our maintaining sponsors are Bank of America, BB&T, Brown Brothers Harriman, Carolinas Healthcare System, now Atrium Health, Coca-Cola Bottling Company Consolidated, Dixon Hughes Goodman, First Citizens Bank, Food Lion, Mabry McShane, Morgan Stanley The Young Group, TIAA, and Zapata Engineering. Thanks to each of these companies for their collective giving that allows every new gift that you make today to go directly to support YWCA programs. So 2017 was really an awesome year in our 116-year history here in Charlotte. Last year, we were on a mission to raise $1 million, primarily to renovate our 1965 locker rooms, but also to launch a new website, to upgrade the pool, to add new cardio equipment, to replace all of our spin bikes and invest more deeply in marketing our fitness center, and we actually exceeded that goal. As we rang in the new year, we completed that transformation, and our 1965 locker rooms, nostalgically retro though they were, are now absolutely beautiful, contemporary, safe, and welcoming to fitness members old and new. Thank you. Many of you who are in this room today made special gifts for that effort over and above our annual giving, and for that we're very, very grateful. Also last year in our youth programs, we joined 10 other local organizations to participate in an innovative data collaborative sponsored by Reed Charlotte. It's a collective effort over a 3-year commitment by literacy providers, funders, and community partners to improve the availability, quality, and use of data to improve children's literacy. In our 10 YWCAs, we implemented 2 new nationally recognized program components, one called iReady, Student Instruction, the other Parenting the Love and Logic Way. I'm sure many of us as parents, sometimes we had more logic or love. We have a computer-based reading assessment through iReady, which helps us to measure and report students' progress on a set of critical reading sub-skills like high-frequency words or phonological awareness. The Love and Logic approach to parenting is built around crafting caring and respectful relationships between parent and child, and it equips parents with the skills to help their children with respect, responsibility, and good character. Racial equity work connects to all that we do in housing, in education, and in wellness. Last year, we hosted 3 dinner forums for our community, a screening of the Netflix documentary 13th, followed by a facilitated discussion, a session called How to Use Your Privilege, Power, and Purpose for Positive Change, facilitated by Toussaint Romaine, and an illuminating panel presentation for the community led by Justin Perry, which examined Charlotte's school-to-prison pipeline. On the near horizon, all 6 YWCAs in North Carolina, Asheville, Charlotte, Greensboro, High Point, Wilmington, and Winston-Salem, are banding together to leverage our collective voices for unified advocacy that focuses on policy efforts around eliminating racial profiling, which criminalizes people of color. And we're going to be engaging with valued community partners in that work. So look forward to hearing more about that at work. In housing, we're elated to tell you that 84% of our women in transition and 89% of our Families Together households moved from the YWCA into their own permanent housing last year. Those individuals' determination and the hard work it represents on their parts, it's humbling, especially in light of so many challenges: increasingly higher rents, low-wage jobs, segregated neighborhoods, a persistent need for broader networks and a more fruitful connection in the community. Last year, for those of you who were in this ballroom, you might have also remembered we were about to bounce off the stage because we had just learned that we had been awarded the opportunity to serve 66 families at Renaissance West Community Initiative. And we started to do that last April, so it's been almost a year. It had been our great hope to move beyond our own campus at Park Road to serve other families in need of supportive services. And our staff at Renaissance West is proud to report that 92% of those households are gainfully employed, working towards their longer-term goal of affordable, fair market rent without needing a subsidy. I'm sure that if you are anything like me, you ask yourself and you wonder, how can I be more effective in my own spaces and places? Nonprofit missions do need charitable support, and that is part of why we're here today, but that is only a part of the solution. In order to create one community, we need to unselfishly share our networks and our valuable connections so that we can truly be a community. I invite you to watch and enjoy as our wonderful friends at Wonder World Creative help us to tell that story.
When I think about our city, I think about the crossroads that we're at right now. And, in a way, we're kind of like this big expanding ship that has been able to flow very well for a while. But right now we've hit some pretty rocky waters, and there's a definite storm that we're confronting right now.
YWCA, the Women in Transition program, takes women from homelessness. We help them to overcome any barriers that they might have and transition them into permanent housing.
I started out working in the field of human resources when they started downsizing and the companies were going out of shipping a lot of the work overseas. I happened to be in that department where they were doing that. And so I unfortunately lost my position.
What the beauty of the YWCA is that there's the willingness to tackle the complex and the simple together.
Well, I guess my life was condensed into a large suitcase, a medium-sized suitcase, and sort of a carry-on bag. Trying to find a place to live. I used all my monies and stuff, and someone told me about this particular program here.
And I just really love the commitment that you all have to the community, but most importantly, to your residents, to the people that are participating here.
We give them a sense of hope that this isn't your end. There is hope at the end of the tunnel, and you will succeed and get over these hurdles.
I can't find a job. I've exhausted everything. And I think I said before, it's kind of like you're in a sea and you're kind of rocky and rolling and you're like, okay, I need a safe place to dock my boat for just a little bit, a little while.
It had taken her 2 years to find a job at a grocery store. And I said, so what do you really want to do, Charlene? And that's when she shared with me, well, I love children and I've always wanted to be a teacher.
As I have a true passion about working with kids.
And we developed a plan. I called a couple of people that I knew, like at Central Piedmont Community College, to get feedback about what could she do potentially. She already had a degree. And finding out all of this information, she was able to start taking the 4 classes she needed to become a certified teacher.
Never give up trying, no matter where you are in life. That everybody has rocky periods in their life, but you have to face them and to keep moving on.
So I was thinking, how can I get Charlene even farther in her dream and her goal? And I introduced her to Jan.
So I thought it was a wonderful idea. I was excited to get to meet somebody who wants to be in the classroom because we need good, dedicated, smart teachers.
And once I've met Jan, it was just felt like I've kind of known her for quite a while, because we both like the same things. We're both passionate about education.
Don't know what I expected. I don't know. I didn't have any expectations. I just knew I was going to meet somebody who wants to teach, and I know that the Y wants to help people get their lives in the places they want them to be, and whatever I can do to help with that too, I'm willing to do.
And so one of the great things I think about the YW is that it provides an opportunity not only to impact folks that we recognize traditionally as marginalized, but it also gives folks who have significant privilege the chance to connect in a different, more authentic way.
Well, we all live in our own bubbles. I mean, no matter where you are. And so my bubble happens to be one of a lot of privileges in many ways. You know, I live in a very safe neighborhood. I have access to the internet all the time. I have a car. I have a job. I have, like when we have a snow day, I still get paid. All these things that you don't necessarily think about if you don't have to think about it. We're also segmented or siloed, and the more segregated our schools get economically and racially, the harder it even becomes for people to get to know the different ways that people live.
But I think if we as a greater community can take a cue from the YWCA and realize that if we invest in our citizens, we'll actually all be better off in the long run.
I do think it's a myth that anybody's a self-made person. And people like to say, oh, you should just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, but that's impossible to do if, say, you have no boots, right? And I think anybody who would examine how they got to where they are would be able to identify dozens of people who helped them succeed in those ways. And anybody who wants to believe that they have made it solely on their own is probably not being honest with themselves.
And there's a definite storm that we're confronting right now. And one of the things that I see the YWCA doing is providing one of the many lighthouses that we're going to need in order to navigate that, in order to safely get to shore.
Thank you, Justin and Gloria and Charlene and Jan, for helping us to talk more broadly about what it means to be part of this mission. So now for the fun part. So one spring afternoon in 2011, I was in my office with a colleague of mine who also was a Davidson College Wildcat. And we were watching the board chair at Davidson College address students and faculty and many of us who were watching remotely. And as the speaker described the significant merits, and he did go on and on, of the 18th president of Davidson College, he very carefully avoided using any pronouns. And we started to look at each other and say, what if? Finally, he introduced Dr. Carol Quillen, and we were jumping up and down in my office, hugging and cheering. Not long after, I had the pleasure of hearing Carol speak in Charlotte. I left thrilled and encouraged that she had come to lead Davidson College. She was adamant about the fact that a liberal arts education should foster leaders who will disproportionately positively impact their communities. She spoke about the pressing need for inclusivity, truly showing others that they're wanted. I want to tell you about some things that have happened just in the last 3 weeks. The American Enterprise Institute, a prominent think tank in Washington, D.C., assembled a very small group of thought leaders in higher education to lead a discussion on saving the liberal arts, moderated by a columnist from the Washington Post. The liberal arts college president they decided to invite was Carol Quillen of Davidson College. A few days later, college and university presidents across North Carolina honored Carol with an award recognizing her leadership in fostering student engagement and community impact. And today, and by that I mean literally she has to leave immediately after speaking, Carol flies to New York as one of the founding college presidents of the American Talent Initiative, which is a rapidly expanding effort funded by former Mayor Michael Bloomberg to enroll 50,000 additional lower-income students in our nation's elite colleges and universities by the year 2025. Carol is reimagining what a liberal arts college does, and our nation is taking notice. Davidson students learn, how to take a problem and reframe it to find a solution, how to work with people who are different, how to confront views they disagree with, and understand how people come to different conclusions. It is my greatest pleasure for this Wildcat to introduce to you the inspiring Dr. Carol Quillen.